guys, this is Erica the Goober, and this is Molly. Today I am going to walk you through the process of how I create a digital painting. I like to break my drawing process down into 5 steps. So first we have sketch, then color, lines, cleanup, and adjustments. Typically, I start out with a light gray background and use a slightly darker gray for the paint color. I used to use a white background with black paint color, but I learned that your mistakes will show up a lot easier because of the high contrast. I felt like working with gray tones really helped me loosen up my sketch. One of my least favorite things about digital art used to be making line art. I used to work where I would do my sketch and then draw on top of the sketch, but I always found that it didn't match up with the sketch as well as I intended it to. Sometimes you would lose that emotion, the looseness that you had in your sketch, and it would become more stiff. That's why I always clean up my sketch instead of making additional line art on top. This way I can be messy and very fluid, loose, and keep that same feeling that I had originally with my sketch. Your line art definitely doesn't have to be perfect, especially if you want a more painterly style. Now that I'm all done with my sketch, I will darken it by using the hue, saturation, and brightness menu, and I'll bring it down to a dark gray, almost black. After this, I will go to color balance and change my lines to a dark red color. I feel like this goes really well with skin tones, and it's a good base to have for your lines. To finish up this step, all you need to do is just a little bit more cleanup before we start coloring. When I start the coloring process, I make a base that's pretty much a silhouette of the character. So I want to make sure that this base is completely solid. When you hide the lines, you won't be able to see any of the background showing through. This will allow you to stay in the lines when you make a clipping mask. And that is the next part of the coloring step, is to create a clipping mask for every material in your drawing. So with this one, I have one for her skin, for her hair, for her shirt. Every single thing in the drawing has a different layer. This makes it easy to change the color later on if you want to make some adjustments. Your next step is to color your lines, and it is exactly the same thing as I do for the color. I will use the lines as a base and make clipping masks on top of it with different colors on each clipping mask. Sometimes I get a little bit lazy and I have one clipping mask for all the different colors of my lines, and that kind of bites me in the butt sometimes because then I can't go back and change each individual color. I have to color back over it. So if you want to make things a little bit easier on yourself, make sure you make a different clipping mask for each color. I feel like changing the line color in your paintings helps your colors overall be a lot more unified, and it also helps a lot with this next step, which is cleanup. This is the step that I spend a majority of my time on. First, I will go into the individual color layers and add a little bit of highlights and shadows to give it a little bit more depth. And then next, I just create layers on top of the lines and just start painting. This is definitely my favorite step. I really like being loose with this and just kind of having fun with the paint. If you start to make adjustments and you are not sure about how they are going to fit with your painting, I always create another layer. I usually end up with several cleanup layers just because I want to make sure I don't lose the original feeling I had in the sketch. So I'm going to let you guys finish watching the speed painting of the cleanup, and I will be back to talk about adjustment layers and finalizing your drawing. Okay, for this last step, we are going to work on finalizing this drawing. Originally, I forgot to record this part, so we're gonna do it again. This is what it's gonna look like in the end. But this is what it looked like as soon as I finished everything. So what we're going to do is duplicate your layer. It always helps to flip your canvas to make sure everything's where you want it to be. Looks like I made a few adjustments in the final drawing, so I'm going to liquefy. So I liquefied, and now I'm going to do a little bit of color balance work. So Command B, and we're gonna add a little bit more red to this, brighten her up a little bit. So I am going to adjust the levels now and add a little bit more contrast to this. Originally, I think I had the background on a different layer, but we're just gonna do this for now so I can show you how it works, and then you can do it on your own paintings. So I gave her a little bit more contrast, and now I'm going to add a new layer, set that to overlay, and pick I usually do like a light pink. Get your brush and just kind of like brighten some areas up that you want to highlight. So I usually do it like on the edge of the hair, around the cheeks, on the nose, on the bottom lip. And now what we're going to do is merge those two layers and add some noise to this. So go up to filter, add noise, and I would zoom in to kind of check and see if that's the level of noise that you're wanting. It gives it a little bit of a grainy look, and it's not as smooth as digital art normally is. So yeah, that's pretty much the process I use for all of my drawings. I hope you like this video, and as always, a special thank you to my patrons. I'd like to give a special shout out to Sylvia, as well as Shadow Star Storm on Instagram. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for supporting my work. If you want to join my Patreon, it starts at only $1 a month, and you can check it out in the description. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more art videos like this one. You can also find my art on Instagram at Erica the Goober. For today's discussion question, I want to know, what is your favorite art book? I have a lot of art of books that I really like, such as the Art of Tangled book and the Overwatch art book. So if you guys have any suggestions of art books that I should check out or anybody else should check out, you should put them in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!